Good afternoon, folks. My name is Jimmy Bashar with the ISO Stakeholder Affairs Group. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the web conference to discuss CAISO's bucket filing for December 2019 as part of our recurring tariff clarification filing process. At this time, I'd like to introduce my colleagues in the room with me here today, beginning to my left.
Sydney Manheim, CAISO Legal. Sorry.
Sylvia Dakovic.
Phil Weaver, CAISO Legal.
And Anna McKenna.
Thanks, folks. Our agenda for today is to, of course, discuss the various draft tariff language proposed changes for this filing. We have received stakeholder comments. We, of course, appreciate the feedback from those who have submitted them. And we've also just posted an updated draft matrix to largely capture that. In addition, calls and webinars are recorded for stakeholder convenience, allowing those who are unable to attend to listen to the recordings after the meeting. The recordings will be publicly available on the ISO webpage for a limited time following the meetings. Of course, the recordings and any related transcriptions should not be reprinted without ISO's permission. And lastly, of course, if you have any questions, please raise your hand in the queue by pressing #2. And we politely request that you state your name and the company that you represent. And with that, I'll hand it over to you, Sylvia.
Hi, this is Sylvia. So as Jimmy mentioned, we posted a new matrix online today. That includes 2 additional revisions. They're located on pages 10 through 11, and we'll go through those after we go through the 2 stakeholder comments that we received. We received comments from the 6 cities as well as SCE. So we'll begin by discussing those. Both 6 cities and SCE commented on Appendix A, minimum dispatchable level definition. So we'll begin there, and we'll have Sydney speak to that.
Hi, yes, this is Sydney here, and I'd like to start with just a little history of why we had that definition in our tariff to begin with. In 2012, the summer of 2012, the CAISO operators had to exceptionally dispatch resources in Southern California that had very slow ramp rates to put them at a higher ramp rate to make them usable in our markets. We ended up needing to file a tariff amendment later that late summer, early fall, to request authority to apply the mitigated energy settlement because these resources, their scheduling coordinators, knew that the CAISO had to do that and were bidding accordingly, and that created a factual basis to apply the mitigated exceptional dispatch energy settlement to those exceptional dispatches. And FERC granted that authority. In 2012, so we didn't have MSG resources, so we did create and draft and get accepted, included in that filing, the definition for minimum dispatchable level, and it was based on our pre-MSG market. We didn't have MSGs yet, and our main purpose in drafting these tariff changes is to create a definition that's workable for multi-stage generating resources. And the assumption also behind this proposed tariff change was that all the resources with forbidden operating regions had become under the multi-stage generator model. Now, if there are some exceptions, there certainly would be no issue here at the CAISO if that language remained in the tariff definition as one of 3 ways to define the minimum dispatchable level. We are also proposing to eliminate the reference to the regulation ramping rate because for operational purposes, we only exceptionally dispatch based on the operational level. And again, these are exceptionally dispatched to move a resource from its PMIN to its higher ramping level dispatchable PMIN for resources that have a very slow operational ramp rate at PMIN. I think I'll pause there to see if there's any questions, particularly from 6 cities or SoCal Edison.
Thanks, Sydney. As a reminder, folks, please push #2 if you'd like to ask Sydney a question on this section.
We do have a question? Go ahead, caller.
Hi, this is Bonnie Blair for the Six Cities. So I'm still confused. Sydney, I thought I just heard you say that all resources with forbidden operating regions are MSG resources, but the subpart 1 of the definition suggests otherwise, because it...
Yes, I think the change was written with a false assumption that we no longer had resources with forbidden operating regions, that they had become modeled under the MSG model. That is incorrect. So we do have some resources with forbidden operating regions. So that would
that are not MSG resources.
Yes.
Okay. So subpart 1 of the explanation is incorrect. The subpart 1 of the suggested language is correct, but subpart 1 of the explanation is not correct, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay. With that, I think it makes sense. I mean, if you just take out subpart 1 of the explanation, I think it all fits together. I think.
Yeah, I think as part of our pre-filing activities, we will post revised versions of this tariff section, this definition. Is anybody on the line?
Explanation that threw me because it just wasn't tracking the revised language. So I think if you fix subpart 1 of the explanation, I think it works. Anyway, thanks.
Thanks, Bonnie.
And yeah, we plan to repost based on the results of this call either later this week or early next week at the latest.
Anybody on the phone from SoCal Edison?
We do have another question.
Hi, this is Aditya from SCE, and just echoing, well, actually, I think, well, thanks to Bonnie's comments, but she may be farther ahead. I think we'll just wait for when you rewrite the language and repost it, because I'm still not on the same page.
So your comments suggested a resource that was an MSG resource that also had a forbidden operating region. So that caused a little confusion.
No, sorry. No, we said no is not an MSG, but has an FOR.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So I think the changes we're contemplating, as discussed with Bonnie, should address that concern, but we'll go ahead and post it and you'll have a chance to look at it.
Thank you. That would help a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say too, it's unlikely, based on the level of comments we got, that we'll have another call before we file. So to the extent Edison or Six Cities or anyone has additional comments or issues they want to discuss, we're happy to do that on a one-on-one basis. Just reach out to Sydney or Stakeholder Affairs, and we'll set that up.
Okay, great. Should we run through the other comments?
Yeah, so this is Bill Weaver here. As Sylvia said, Edison and Six Cities both had comments on minimum dispatchable level. After that, the only proposed edits to the bucket filing changes were from Six Cities. They had 10 other suggestions throughout the bucket filing. I'm just going to say that we agree with all of them and will implement them almost exactly as Six Cities suggests, except in two places. On their revision for Appendix U, Section 4.4.7, they noted that a line was missing a word, and they guessed that the word was response. It's actually agreement, to be consistent with the other
generator interconnection process appendices. You can look at section 6.7.4 of DD, for example. That's the missing word. And then on Appendix DD, Section 3.5.1.1b, again, they said it looks like there's a missing word after this, and that is also correct, and the word is GIDAP. So, long story short, we are adopting the proposed 6-city edits with those two qualifications. I'll pause here to see if anyone has any questions on those.
Hearing no questions, if anybody would like to raise any other comments or questions about any of the other sections included in the matrix, please, is it *6?
Pound 2.
Pound 2.
Sorry, yeah. We'll give a few more seconds as we are reaching the conclusion of the call. If anyone wants to jump in.
We could discuss the two additions that were added this morning. They're on pages 10 to 11.
Sure.
Both are, the first change is to section 31.5.3.1.4, and it's aligning.
Yeah, I can speak to that one.
Okay.
And it looks like a lot of red lines, you guys, but basically what we were doing in this section is to clarify how we make our supply system. It's clarifying the authorities already in the tariff because the language there is a little bit vague, but it's to say if there's to be a supply side adjustment in RUC, and in this case it would be an adjustment to what is considered for an EIR in the RUC process. We make adjustments to the forecast for other reasons, but in this section we also highlight that we could make an adjustment to the schedules, if you wish, of those variable energy resources, or EIRs as we call them in our tariff, in RUC, so to ensure that we're not over-procuring RUC for if we expect there to be, say, more output coming out of VERS. And what we have been doing is that we, consistent in the tariff, indicates that we can adjust make a supply-side adjustment for the purposes and it's not clear if it's only for when there's a bid or self-schedule submitted into the IFM or not. It's a little bit more open. We've been doing it only for resources that submitted bids, but that's only been because that's just been our practice for a number of years. We've noticed that, as the tariff indicates, is already the authority for us to have it. It may be necessary to do, even if they don't submit a bid, if their forecast indicates there's maybe significant output that we may not want to procure RUC, additional RUC, or ensure that RUC does not incrementally procure, more capacity. So what we're thinking is just some language that clarifies that it could be a supply-side adjustment could happen if, so indicated by the forecast of these resources, and it could happen whether there's a bid or not, and it would be based on the forecast that we have the resources the day before. And then what we do as we normally do is that if there's a particular practice we're following, we'll indicate that practice in the BPM in terms of what normally we do on a normal basis, so you have visibility as to when the ISO makes these adjustments. And again, this doesn't change really the tariff authority. It clarifies it because somebody raised this internally that they weren't sure what it meant, and so we thought, and looking at it a little bit more closely, we thought, well, it definitely does warrant a little clarification. Any questions?
Okay, hearing none, we can move on to the second change. It's just right underneath this first one that we were talking about. It's to section 34.3.1, and then did Anna or Sydney want to speak to this one?
I can quickly jump in unless Sydney, if you want.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that, yes. In a review of tariff against our market operations, we confirm that, yes, all of these time intervals referenced in the tariff section are indeed approximate, but we had a more accurate approximate time to update this tariff section from 7.5 to 12 minutes prior to the first trading hour for the first 15-minute run of the hour on the residual RTUC, real-time unit commitment process. So we wanted to just make that approximate number more accurate.
I know this has been an issue that, you know, at times participants have asked questions about. We'll continue to, you know, ensure that everybody understands that this is intended to be an approximate time, and it kind of depends on when other things happen in terms of the various processes we have to execute. So it's never intended to be exactly at 7.5 or exactly at 12. But what we have noticed, as Sydney has said, is that over the years it's been more closer to 12 than 7.5, so we wanted to update that.
Are there any questions on the line?
We have no questions at this time.
All right, thanks so much, everybody, and thanks so much for those on the phone who have joined us today. As mentioned, please look out for the recording for this call. It'll be available for the next couple of business days. And as Bill mentioned, we are happy to receive any further feedback before we file any further revised language. Please send any inquiries to the initiative comments at kaiso.com email address, or feel free to email any one of the leads here. And once more, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much.